Monday, June 3rd, 2019. I don't even know what month it is. Please stand for the flag salute. Judy, would you like to lead us?
Yes.
Hold on just a second. Rodney, you all right, buddy?
Okay, I can.
I want to move this back just a little bit.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thanks.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law by posting a notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building and by publication in the Press of Atlantic City on January 10th, 2019, and the Atlantic County Record on January 16th, 2019. Mr. Gishard?
Present.
Mr. Kurtz?
Here.
Mrs. Link?
Here.
Mr. Silva?
Here.
Mayor Schenker?
Here. Can we have a moment of silence for private reflection? Additions, deletions, I didn't see any. Mike, no? Number 2, early public comment on agenda items, excluding items listed for public hearings.
No one has signed
No one signed up, thank you. Number 3, discussions, formal actions may be taken. A, change to LoSAP policy. Mike, would you like to elaborate on that a little bit, please?
Yes. We finally reached out, or we finally received a response from the IRS, and they don't have restrictions on when you can take your money. So the only restrictions that we have are the state requirements, which they're listed on their website, and that's what's in the new policy. This will allow anybody that's vested to take their money. Now, they'll have to pay taxes and maybe a penalty,
Yes.
but that's, we advise them right in the policy to check with their accountant or with the tax advisor before they do it. But if you're vested and we have your 5 years in, you can take your money.
Wow.
So I'm sure that they'll be happy with that information.
All right, so they take their money, right?
Yes.
They can still stay in it, though, right?
They can, this,
And they keep starting up building and building if they took almost all their money, or,
yeah, they can take their money. They don't have to leave the fire company. So they can stay in the fire company, and they can get right back in LoSAP. It just takes them 5 years to get vested again.
That's great news,
So they-
because we've had
It is.
issues happen recently where they had to leave the department in order to do
Well,
that, and it really was, I thought, kind of unfair. So I think this was a good ruling, yeah.
Is
So
there a
they-
penalty for taking it out?
I'm sure there is, yes. I'm
Yeah,
sure
oh,
there
yeah.
is.
So they can take it without financial hardship.
Yes. They can take it just by leaving LoSAP, by getting out of the program.
Okay, so they get out of LoSAP, they continue to be in the fire department. When do they go back into LoSAP? Immediately, or is
Go
there a
back
time
in
frame?
immediately.
They're back in immediately?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that sounds better. Anybody else have any questions?
No, I'm good.
We can move on this?
Yes. Please
I'll,
adopt the policy.
entertain a motion.
I'll make a
Second.
motion to move this resolution.
second.
We have a motion and a second. We need a roll call? Bob? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on, public hearing, adoption of ordinance, we don't have any. Introduction of ordinances, public hearing to be held on June 17th, 2019. A, ordinance 1901, 2019, an ordinance authorizing the sale of Lot 31, Block 207, as shown on the tax map of the Township of Hamilton, and granting to the owner or owners of said real property contiguous to the same right prior refusal to purchase such land in the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic, State of New Jersey. I'll have that in your packets.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions?
So moved.
We have a motion
So moved. Second.
and a second to move the ordinance. Roll call? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. B, ordinance 1902, 2019, an ordinance to vacate the following public street. In the Portland Avenue to Hickory Street between Block 865, Lot 2101, and Block 867, Lot 1. To repealing all ordinance here to for adopt the provisions of which are inconsistent herein. You have this in your packet. Anyone have any questions?
Mike, is this something that was before the planning
board.
board? Yeah, that's how I recognize it, yeah. And we had no issue with it or anything?
So the planning board is,
Yeah, already reviewed it, yeah. Had no problem with it.
okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. C, ordinance 1903, 2019, an ordinance rescinding ordinance 1792, 2015, ordinance 1811, 2016, and ordinance 1847, 2017, and implementing a new tax exemption and abatement program pursuant to the 5-year tax exemption and abatement law, New Jersey, SA 40A 21-1, for the entirety of the Township of Hamilton, County of Atlantic. Mike, would you give us a brief on that?
Yes, sir, Mayor. Several months ago, the Township Committee approved the entire township as an area in need of rehabilitation. This ordinance spells out the terms and conditions under which a person can apply for the abatement or the exemption. You have to fit into certain categories with your residential, if you're commercial, if you're industrial, to qualify for them.
So in short, this ordinance does away with the ordinances that we had in place
Yes,
for other abatements, very similar to those. This just goes a little bit further,
this
correct?
covers the entire town, yes.
Right, okay. Any questions?
No, I have none.
So moved.
I'll make a motion to remove that ordinance.
A motion,
Second.
second?
I would like a roll call on this.
Surely. Are there any questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Gashard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. 6, award of bids, contracts, and change orders. A, resolution authorizing acceptance of a proposal for engineering and environmental services for replacement of second drainage pipe in Old River Road project with Steve Philippone of Engineering Design Associates, not to exceed $19,300.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gashard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
B, resolution authorizing acceptance of a proposal for surveying, engineering, and construction management services for New York Avenue. Phase 4 project with Steve Philippone of Engineering Design Associates, not to exceed $35,000.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gashard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Resolution authorizing the purchase of two 2019 Ford Utility Police Interceptors from Day Auto through Gloucester County Cooperative. Purchase price $33,469 each, with a total cost of $66,938.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gashard?
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes.
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes. D, resolution authorizing the upfitting of 2 Ford Utility Police Interceptors by municipal equipment under the state contract. Total cost $16,424.71.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions?
Could you just describe a little bit about what upfitting means for these vehicles, and does it include all the lights and that sort of thing?
Yes, the lights, sirens, radios, cameras, notebook, all the equipment that goes into the car.
Do we have any?
It's the electronics for that.
Yeah, do we have any bids from local people?
I'm not sure who the bidder is here. Do we know the bidder?
This is under state contract.
Do you know who the contractor is?
They're called municipal equipment,
Municipal equipment?
the name of the company, yes.
Does that go out to 3 bids? when
State
that-
contract, no, state
Okay.
contract,
State contract?
yeah.
What happens with the old electronics?
Well, if the car if the car that it's replacing eventually gets bumped out of service, it gets stripped out of it. I mean, probably has very little salvage value, if anything.
Why, under state contract, do we not reach out to our local people?
We can't.
We can't?
We can't get, in other words, we use the state contract bid, you have to use their vendor.
Okay. All right, so we're using the state contract bid for the vehicles, so we have to,
Well, we're using a cooperative for the vehicles.
for the cooperative.
Judy, but where we can, we do business locally.
Oh, absolutely,
We've got
yeah.
a lot of our equipment there where they work on it too. I
Okay,
know who you're referring to, and yes, they do business with them.
okay.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Gishard?
Yes,
Mr. Kurtz?
Yes.
Mrs. Link?
Yes,
Mr. Silva?
Yes.
Mayor Schenker?
Yes.
All yes.
Move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
with respect to items D, E, F, G, H, and I, they have to be voted on independently.
You're making me work.
Authorizing me to take action.
D, E,
E, F,
It's phases 1 through 6,
D to I.
E to I, yes.
D,
Okay.
including I, right?
Including I, yes.
I'll move A through D and J through N.
second,
That needs to be A through C, correct?
A through C. J
Oh, D
through
was one of them, I'm sorry. A
Sorry.
through C and J through N.
Okay, do we get a second on that?
yeah, I second it.
Second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
So let's start with D, resolution denying release of a 2-year maintenance agreement, maintenance guarantee for Victoria Point subdivision, Phase 1 site improvements, Baker Residential, in the amount of $164,749.81. Due to incomplete punch list items, as recommended by Township Engineer Steve Philippone, is his correspondence dated 5/16/19, and authorizing solicitor to take action against the bond.
So moved.
second.
Any questions?
No, just a comment. It's really great that we have Steve here to look into situations like this and particularly not return this, this money when the punch lists are not complete. And that's what I see here, so I understand it. Yeah, thank you.
You
I
do not
agree.
need a roll call.
Thank you. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? Ayes have it. E, resolution denying the release of a 2-year maintenance guarantee for Victoria Point subdivision, Phase 2 site improvements, Baker Residential, in the amount of $119,497.25 due to incomplete punch list items as recommended by Township Engineer Steve Philippone in his correspondence dated 5/16/19, and authorizing solicitor to take action against the bond.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Are there any questions? Seeing no questions, hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye,
All those opposed? The ayes have it. F, resolution denying the release of a 2-year maintenance guarantee for Victoria Point subdivision, Phase 3, site improvements, Baker Residential, in the amount of $69,003.79 due to incomplete punch list items as recommended by Township Engineer Steve Philippone in his correspondence dated 5/16/19, and authorized by the solicitor to take action against the bond.
So moved.
So moved.
A motion and second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? The ayes have it. G, resolution denying the release of a 2-year maintenance agreement guarantee for Victoria Point subdivision due to incomplete punch list items as recommended by Township Engineer Steve Philippone in his correspondence dated 5/16/19, and authorizing solicitor to take action against the bond.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. H, resolution denying the release of 2-year maintenance guarantee for Victoria Point subdivision, Phase 5, site improvements, Baker Residential, in the amount of $56,122.18 due to incomplete punch list as recommended by Township Engineer Steve Philippone in his correspondence dated 5/16/19, and authorizing solicitor to take action against the bond.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, the ayes have it.
Aye.
I, resolution denying the release of a 2-year maintenance guarantee for Victoria Point subdivision, Phase 6, site improvements for Baker Residential in the amount of $40,925.02 due to an incomplete punch list items as recommended by Township Engineer Steve Philippone as in correspondence dated 5/16/19, and authorizing solicitor to take action against the bond.
So
So
moved.
moved.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? See, hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? All right, I need to take a 5-minute break. 8, personnel, resolution to rehire Tony Luchin, is that even close?
Yes.
As temporary full-time labor at $15.30 per hour, effective 6/4/19, not to exceed 11 months.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor roll call vote, please. That's what I meant to say, Bob.
Mr. Gashard,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mayor Schenker.
Yes.
All yes.
Thank you. B, authorization to advertise for full-time police dispatcher position.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. Move to number 9, approvals. A, minutes of the May 20th, 2019 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, the ayes have it. B, payroll and bills. Bill list total $1,060,062.19.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? We have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Gashard,
Yes.
Mr. Kurtz,
Yes.
Mrs. Link,
Yes.
Mr. Silva,
Yes.
Mayor Schenker.
Yes.
All yes.
We'll move on to number 10, reports. Mr. Administrator.
Nothing there.
Mr. Solicitor?
Nothing?
Thank you. Mr. Engineer?
Yeah, Mayor, I have a few items on my report. The first is the municipal generator, which is out back. Deputy Mayor Silva brought to my attention about a week ago that to take a look at the epoxy coating that we placed. We had the contractor go out there last September and place an epoxy coating on that sort of depressed area over top of the diesel fuel tank, and that epoxy coating is not holding up. So I reached out for Janney Electric, and I requested a meeting between Janney Electric and Cummins Diesel, the manufacturer of that piece of equipment. So they're still under maintenance bond, and we will meet with them and come up with some sort of solution to this. The first suggestion, which we were hopeful would work with this epoxy, has not worked. It seems to get baked in the sun, and it's starting to sort of peel off. So we'll find another solution.
Yeah, didn't we discuss possibly doing some kind of a dome or something to run the water
We
off?
talked about it like a metal shield,
Yeah.
something, so we will go to Plan B, but I thought it's best, when I called Ron Janney, I said, I'd like to see the manufacturer there.
Sure.
And have them come out. They wrote me a very lengthy email back last August saying that the life expectancy of that fuel tank doing, under their testing processes is over 40 years. But since they have so much knowledge in testing, let's get them out there and see if there's another solution. So I thought that was the best
Well, if
path.
they did and they know the longevity of it, I'm sure they have other tanks like that around, and maybe that condition does or doesn't exist somewhere else. So they got to have experience with it, you're right.
That's what we were thinking. And Brett and I both looked at it, and that's, in our opinion, the best path. So I'll keep you posted. The second item is Verizon Streetscape Plan. The work is completed on the concrete work and on the seating areas, and the landscaping is completed. Tavistock, they just completed the fencing. I don't know if you've been by Tavistock, you could see the split rail fence they put up.
Did a nice job.
And the residents in there are very happy. Lou DeChico seems, he walks through the development, he's been sort of part of the inspection, and he's very, very happy. So they're going to put up the fabric is going to go up next week, and next week they're also going to start on the concrete work. The concrete work is going to be going inside the storm inlets and parging them, and they're going to raise that whole road intersection. They're going to start with curbing and asphalt, so that whole intersection raises by about 2 feet. So they're going to start that next week. They're telling me concrete work is about 3 weeks' worth of work, and then they can get in there and do the paving.
Good.
Under construction projects, the one I want to talk about is Outback Steakhouse. I listed that they were planning in my report to do paving tomorrow. The paving's going to actually be Thursday now, possibly Wednesday. So that project has been challenging for me. They did receive
Them too.
Yeah, a temporary CO, I think, was issued on Friday, and this is the first time I've ever seen the parking lot lagging behind the construction of the building, but the date that they're telling me tentatively is a June 26th opening date is what they're telling me. We'll keep an eye on them.
I wish them luck.
Do we get a gift card from them? Well, we got
The 2018 road program, I listed McKee Avenue. We've had a couple of meetings with Wade Smith. We had one last Friday. McKee Avenue, they're going to start reconstruction of the roadway this Friday. What they're going to do is take the curb line and widen alongside of the auto parts store. They're going to widen the shoulder by about 4 feet. That'll be on Friday. They're going to do all that concrete work on Friday. Monday, they're going to mill, and Tuesday, they're going to pave. We have what we think is a pretty good traffic control plan. I reached out for Great Area Harbor Regional School District today and spoke to them about it. Hamilton Township School District didn't call me back, but I'll talk to them tomorrow. We just want to make sure they're aware of, the rerouting of the traffic. We're going to utilize Volunteer Way. I've been in contact with the owners of Buffalo Pike Associates and made them aware that we're going to be, routing through their new roadway, Renaissance Drive. So we think we have a good project. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge for anybody living in that area or traveling the Key. So we'll do the best, and it'll be 3 days of inconvenience for a lot of people. When that work is completed, we are going to move. They're going to move over to Pennington and start the curb work on Pennington, and that'll be towards the end of next week.
That McGee Avenue modification is going to make a big difference, I would think.
We wish we could widen it more. There's an NJDOT control box there, so we're going tight up against that. It's going to widen that right-hand turn lane by 4 feet, and I think that's enough to make a difference.
2 questions, Steve. The basins behind BJ's back there, Rango Barrow Square, have they sent you any reply as to what they're doing to maintain them?
They have, what, I need to get back on that.
The levels, they're like lakes back there.
They're lakes.
And I went back there to check out the propane situation, for BJ's, and I had to ride the length of the back, and I said, these things are like lakes.
The engineer, we met with him probably back in March. He's under contract to start the investigative work and geotechnical work, and they're going to drain the basins. I will reach out. kind of lost that on my radar, but I'll reach out for the engineer. And DDR, which is now called Site Centers, I'll reach out for the
Good.
manager of that.
Second one, would you, when you get a chance, I know you're a very busy man, the paving on Babcock, if you turn off Oakmore to make a right, where the sections are wider, where they joined them, take a peek to see if they appear to me that they're starting to separate all the way up.
I will take a look at that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We processed a lot of, there's a lot of construction going on back in Artist Walk, and I just wanted to mention that. They paved another phase of Artist Walk. Ryan Holmes seems to be selling a lot of houses back there. There's a lot of activity back there. I don't know if you ever get back there, but there's a lot of construction activity, and we processed a number of temporary COs back there in the past 2 weeks.
Great.
That does conclude my report.
Okay. Any other questions? We'll move to Township Committee. Judy?
I wanted to mention something that is normally done here, but it was done at Memorial Park on Memorial Day. And it was the Honor and Remember by the Veterans Advisory Board for Rodney C. Grichard, Sr. And I just felt that this should be reiterated, not totally in full, but some of the things that I learned about Rodney, which I never knew before, was his service in Vietnam. And once he got his Bachelor of Science degree at Howard, he entered the Air Force ROTC. And on 2 consecutive flights while in ROTC, he had to abort the missions prior to completion. One was due to issues with the control system, and the other because of the engines caught on fire. Quick thinking on his side. While in active duty, he was sent to Vietnam to install and evaluate the permanence of intrusion detection devices, which were designed to detect enemy movement. He completed his service with the rank of captain. I'm very proud of Rodney. He certainly served his country well and was just a great recipient of the Honor and Remember by the Veterans Advisory Board.
Well, thank you, Judy. That was unsuspected and unsolicited.
I know it was unsolicited because you never told me this before. So, yeah, it was well-deserved.
Thank you.
Anything else, Judy?
I just would like to mention the the PAL dance recital that happened at Hess. I went by there and the cars were like, looked like thousands of cars were involved in that program. It just has grown exponentially and really is a tribute to our, communion. Not communion. But it is a great thing to behold for our, Hamilton Township. So that I would have liked to have gone in a little bit, but I had to do my work. But I came by and to witness this, and I know that they have done a wonderful, wonderful job. So, the PAL. That's it.
Thank you, Judy. John?
I just want to mention that the hometown celebration, which everybody looks forward to every year, is coming up on the 29th. And actually, rather than me describing it, maybe during public comment, the president of the Mays Landing Merchants would make some comments on it. Would be nice. He probably has the information we're all looking for. It's a great event. I've been part of it for a lot of years, and I know it's now the responsibility of Dan Snodgrass as president and other members to make that happen. So I wish him the best of luck, and I hope everybody attends. That's it, Art. Thank you.
Very good. Roger?
Yeah, congratulations, Rodney.
Thank you.
It's an honor to sit next to you. Cologne Barbecue, Saturday. I mean, we all missed it last year, and this year, I believe they were able to round up enough volunteers, and it was a great event. Good food, everything was great. I believe all the committee received a packet from the superintendent of schools, Mr. Keenan, and I was very impressed with this early college program where earn 2 and 4. You can earn 2 honors in 4 years. You not only could get your high school diploma, but if you take advantage of the program, you can get your associate's degree. I think a lot of young people today, as they look at the cost of higher education, I don't totally feel that they understand the amount of debt that they're taking on, and it'll be with them for the rest of their life. But if they were to utilize this particular program, because it's a fast track, they could cut their costs down significantly, and over time, even if they wanted to go local, you have 2 colleges right there. You have Rutgers and Farley Dickinson. I know that's the way my youngest son did it, to go back and get his bachelor's degree, and the cost was nowhere near what it would cost you if you attended a 4-year. So I think it's a great program, and I compliment the Great Egg Harbor Regional School District for taking on a program like this and having to offer it for our young people. Tonight, the mayor, myself, met with the freeholder group, Amy Gatto. I know Dan Snodgrass was there representing the merchants. You had the engineers. The preliminary talk about the replacement of the bridge at the Cotton Mill. I think they're still working on it. We'll have more information to report later. Hopefully at that point, Charlie, they'll give you enough information to get a good article in the paper so all the residents will understand what they're looking at. Right now, the way we understand it is that the plans are up at the DOT waiting for their consideration now. And hopefully, once they get that, then they'll start working on the utility bridge. And the utility bridge is something that they have to put up to get all them out of the way so they can work on the other structures they're working with, the gas lines, the electric, et cetera, et cetera. So once we get more information, I'm sure either the mayor, myself, or even the administrator will get the word, and we'll be able to get on it. That's pretty much it, Mayor.
Thank you, Roger.
You're welcome.
Rodney?
Yes, thank you. I too wanted to mention the Greater Egg Harbor Regional Early College Program. In today's market with college as expensive as it is, I think this is a great selling point for this area.
Yep.
You know, it's right here, and you can do it out of high school. You get 2 associate degrees. On top of that, you can then go to community college here, and from there go into and get it for free, and then from here go into a 4-year program at Rutgers. That's great. It's a very good selling point for this area, and I was really happy to see that. Thought I'd also mention the boys' barbecue at Davies was conducted once again, and this is a program where male leaders from all around, actually the country, the area of the country, get together and sit at a table with a number of students and give them advice and mentor them. Once again, it went well, and they had a couple of brochures that they handed out. One had to do with table manners, and the other with, I believe it was behavior, gentlemanly behavior. But it's a very good program. It's a annual event.
Food good?
Oh, yeah, the food was great. They had big Texas ribs. You know, over the years, I've heard I've heard from many seniors living in the senior development areas who have really wanted to have a senior housing situation like they have in Egg Harbor City. It's very well done. So I called the school district, and I talked to the school board president about the possibility of using that Duberson area for such a project. They were both receptive to putting it to good use. I also called the real estate developer to see whether there was any possible interest in that, and I haven't gotten a full response yet, but I did hear that apparently some of the tax incentives that were available in Egg Harbor City would no longer be available for this. So that was a big incentive for what they did in Egg Harbor City. But I think we should all continue looking for good uses for that building.
Okay.
Agreed.
Agree.
I think I mentioned once before that I attended a meeting with the Association of Township Officials, and there was a presentation made on energy aggregation, which the claim was could save 8 to 10% on our electrical energy bills. It was offered several years ago, but now there are over 50 municipalities involved in this, and there has been a positive history with savings of 8 to 10%. There's no cost at all to residents. It's for residents, and they pay the bill to Atlantic Electric just as they do now. It's completely invisible to them, and yet it offers the equivalent of maybe a couple of cents in tax rate. So it's something that hopefully we can take a look at and decide whether it's something of interest. I've asked them to come, or they've agreed to come at the next meeting. So if anybody interested, come. That's all I have, thank you. I just want to comment also on Memorial Day. Every year, I think the Veterans Advisory Board does a great job in putting on, as well as many township organizations like the firemen, do a great job of putting on Memorial Day. And we have a dedicated group of residents that come out every year. I just want to thank them because I think it boosts the morale of veterans, and it shows their appreciation, which incidentally, the attitude today is very much different than it was when I came out of Vietnam, when, veterans were regarded as unemployable because all they had were combat skills, and that's what was thought anyway, and very little skills that were applicable in a civilian environment. They were also regarded as being troublesome. Well, that attitude has changed. People are much more receptive, and right now the employment rate amongst veterans is higher than amongst the general populace, so that's a real positive. All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Rodney. I'd also like to wish you congratulations
Thank
on
you.
the Honor and Remember recognition. It says a lot about who you are and what you've done for this country, and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
I also like to thank Mike for taking care of this thing with LoSAP. This has been an ongoing thing that has been somewhat of confusing, but now that we've got it in the right direction, it's just another positive thing that we'll have moving forward. And I want to make a suggestion. So when we start the bridge, and please, patience is very important for this bridge. We need to get the one guy that was in the meeting, we get his name, we start a hotline, put his number on it for all the questions. What do you think? Good idea?
Amen.
Sounds like a plan.
Rather than yours, right?
Michael.
Good, good. Let Mike get the number, and we'll set that up now.
If you want, having options, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So let's open it up to public comment. Anybody in the public like to speak? Dan, I think you were put on the spot. No turning back now.
That's Dan.
Okay. Everybody here, thank you for having me up. My name is Dan Snodgrass, resident of Hamilton Township, but also the president of the Mays Landing Merchants Association. I'm glad I was able to come tonight with sports schedules and kids, and I'm sure some of you guys remember some of the meetings are tough to get to. Also, those of you who know me, I have plenty to say. Number one, we'll talk about the good things. The hometown celebration, yes, John. June 29th of this year, it is going to be back on Main Street. We just got the approval from the state, so that we're all good with closing down Main Street. Got that in the mail today, Steve, so we're all good to go on that. And I have a meeting on Wednesday with Sue Gaverson and Officer Cressy to go over the traffic plan and make sure that everything is set. We're already up to about almost 3/4 the same amount of vendors as we had last year. And based on what happened last year, most of them didn't sign up to the last week, so we're actually ahead of schedule from where we were. The only thing we need is for the weather to hold out. Last year was pretty darn hot, so if we can have a nice day like it was today, it'll be a great, great time. Social media campaign is starting this week, and also just, signage and everything will be going up this month. So we're really looking forward to that. The second thing is the wine festival is going to be held September 21st and 22nd at Lake Lenape Park. All the wineries that were there last year have already committed to this year. So we have that many, and we've already had 2 more that want to come in for this. We're under discussion whether or not we want to allow that many. When you add more wineries, the amount of money kind of gets spread across, so we're really considering whether or not to do it. It seems to be a good size as it is now. Same thing as the hometown celebration, we need the weather to hold up. Last year, Sunday was a washout. Speak about the Merchants Association. We've had an increase of membership by 50% this year over last year. And I'm proud to say that the membership is transforming from the people who are vendors at the events to actually members who have business in this town. So the concerns of the membership are going to be more about what's going on in the town and business in the town versus what goes on at the events. So, which is one of the things that we're trying to do. If we are going to be a merchants association and to be able to have one voice to let you guys know what's going on in the business, they should be businesses that are here in this town and not the transitory type. So we're proud to say that. One of the great things that happened, I wanted to mention because they're a really good new member, is over at the Hamilton Mall with the virtual reality lab. Rod Green and Ren, who own the Ideal Studio and Creative Labs, are really making a great investment at the mall. And us as the Merchants Association have been supporting them. So if you didn't have a chance, go over and see the VR lab. Even myself as an adult had a good time. So
I was out there, it's incredible.
it is. It's unbelievable. Just to kind of talk about the Halloween parade and what was going on at the Cotton Mill discussion, that bridge. It's already been made. The decision has already been made that the Halloween parade will be on the same route as what was done when they were doing the curbing on Main Street, kind of starting at the VFW and 13th Street and coming down Route 50 and then making a left to go towards St. Vincent's. So because of the bridge and everything like that, that decision has already been made, so we're making preparation for that. Thank you very much. I actually wanted to just thank Amy Gatto for making sure that the Merchants Association was part of that Cotton Mill meeting. If it weren't for her, kind of putting us on that CC list. It wouldn't have happened, and I was glad that she did that for us. I think that that's something that needs to be done more often going in the future when it comes to the business community. I have two more things. Number one, the question was, are we still going to have the September 11th memorial this year?
Yes.
All right. That's wonderful, because I think that's one of the best things that we do here. And lastly, I've been president since January, and so that's about 5 months. I just wanted to let committee know that the interaction that I have had with Hannah so far has been superb. I've had more interaction with Hannah than I had in 3 years with Phil. And not to go against Phil or anything like that, but I just want to say how wonderful of a job she's been doing in involving the business community and everything that she's going on. I think it's a great partnership, and I think it'll be, as it builds and as the relationship builds, I think it will be a great thing for business, not only just on Main Street, but Main Street, the industrial park, and the mall. So I just want you guys to to know what a great job that she's doing. So those are my things. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Dan. Anyone else in the public like to speak?
Move to close the public port.
Harry? Almost.
A little slow there, Harry.
Harry Rogers, 1069 Morningside Drive. Agenda item 5C kind of came and went without a lot of fanfare here tonight. This is the culmination of several years of hard work, putting the tax exemption and abatement law together. And I think it's worth noting what a significant accomplishment this has been, Mr. Mayor, primarily through your leadership. The board is all help, but you've been the one pushing this, and I got to tell you, I personally appreciate it. But my question, what's the follow-up now? How are we going to advertise this? How are we going to make this known to people who are going to come to our community, that we're hoping to lure to our community in terms of businesses and other improvements? We're going to change this to the website, billboards. What are we going to do? Has there been any discussion about this or any plans?
Harry. That's the next step. And as Dan Snodgrass just said, Hannah is going to be a very important part of this. Her and I have spoken with Mike, and this is the direction that we're heading. It's all great. You're absolutely right. You change the ordinance, you do all this stuff, and then nothing happens with it. So we are definitely going to put it out there. Obviously, we're going to start with our website, but I think it's very important for Hannah to be in front of all this. As you know, there's a lot of properties that are under contract with realtors up and down the Black Horse Pike and other areas that are very accessible, to let them know. There's real estate attorneys in this area that historically handle a lot of these properties, that we can reach out to them and make sure that they know, and then, through advertising, and that's going to be a discussion that's coming next. We're going to have to actually, have some type of a little budget for it to be able to, if it's something we want to do that's a little more than just a website or something else. So we're definitely, that's the next step. This was a major milestone, and we finally got here, and it took a lot to put this all together. And we hope that what we did here was make sure that we covered every avenue and every question and everything, that all the concerns. I'm sure we're going to find that the public will let us know if we haven't, and we can always adjust it from there. Nothing is ever written in stone.
I made one suggestion on this topic previously, and it seems to have fallen on rocky ground. But I would urge the committee to set up some type of record keeping for the properties and the amounts that are affected by this particular ordinance. I think it's going to be a very telling thing. I think it's something we need to keep track of and evaluate, maybe perhaps at the 5-year mark.
Well, we'll be able to track it through the.
We have a report, a quarterly
We have a report.
The assessor's doing a quarterly report.
Okay, terrific. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to say?
Motion to close public portion?
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close public portion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it. We need to move to executive session. Land sale, industrial park, attorney-client privilege.
Be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Hamilton that this meeting be adjourned to an executive session to discuss the following matters, which are exempt from public discussion pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law. Land sale, industrial park, attorney-client privilege. Be it further resolved that the governing body may reconvene in public session and confirm the results of the executive session if there is a majority consensus for action to be taken on the matter tonight. Be it further resolved that the results of said executive session shall be made known as soon as the basis for confidentiality is no longer confidential. Roll call.
Thank you. We need a motion to move into?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Hearing no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it. We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, we just need a motion to end the meeting.
So moved.
Hold on, the executive session is now closed?
Can I start recording again for the closing portion of the public part?
Well, we got to reopen the public and then close the meeting, but I have to make a statement first. So I'd like a motion to reopen the public portion of the meeting.
I'll make that motion to reopen the public portion.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, ayes have it.
Back on the record.
Mr. Solicitor.
Time now is 4 minutes of 8. We are out of the executive session. The content of the executive session was limited to what was announced at the beginning or at the end of the open session. The discussions were limited to that. There is no action that needs to be taken at this time. I would suggest that you may close the public portion.
Take a motion to close the meeting, public meeting.
Second. Motion to close the public meeting.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it.